Hello YouTube, and I guess YouTubers. My name is Alison Francis. If you haven't already been able to tell in the first 7 seconds of this video, I'm a male to female transgender, and I have made a previous video just doing a little makeup tutorial showing how I get ready in the morning, which I didn't really expect any views whatsoever, but it got about 300 in a couple of weeks, which I think is kind of interesting. People watch me put on makeup, which is good. I am British and I now live in Fort Worth, Texas, which is a rather interesting place to live if you are LGBT. It's not known for its gay friendliness, but later videos will touch on that. And speaking of videos, this is the first in a set of vlogs I'm making. I'm making them on various topics to do with being out as trans, about passing, about makeup or emotions, about the medication, all sorts of different topics. And the reason is that there are a lot of videos like this now, and there's a lot of before and after videos I've seen which are absolutely fantastic and very inspirational. But when I was growing up and I realised I was trans at about 15, 16, there weren't a whole lot of resources and I still had a lot of questions, and even later on in life when I did come out, I had a lot more questions that couldn't really easily be answered, and that a lot of things I should have known at the time. So as someone who relatively recently came out and has only just started hormone replacement therapy, I've decided to start keeping a vlog for other trans people, or in fact anyone who's LGBT, because a lot of these will be very relatable. Or even if you're someone who is straight, cis, whatever, and you've got a friend who's LGBT, or none of those things, and you're just curious about the trans community and, you know, a lot of what we do and go through and have experienced, you know, of course I'm going to recommend watching my own videos. I'd be crazy not to, but I'm just going to see how these go, and I'll be keeping these as a personal record as well. Yeah, so this very first video I'm doing of the vlog is titled Being Out. And I mean that in the real sense of, you know, being out as a trans person in a few different ways. I think it's really important to be out, maybe not as soon as you know that you're trans or realise, because some people don't quite know at very first and are a little confused as to exactly what label. For quite a while I lived as gender fluid and identified as gender fluid, which means living as both genders day to day depending on how you feel, which is fantastic. I've met and known some other gender fluid people. Not for me. I couldn't cope with that because I started to realise that I am very much happier in this more female form, if you want to call it that, the female side of me, the Alison. So one of the reasons why it's so important to be out is about like it affects your confidence quite a lot, particularly with your friends and family. I was not hugely confident or outspoken or even very social growing up, which is often a trend of a lot of trans people. Social anxiety, being withdrawn, I guess, is relatively common from what I've met and known. You might not be the same, I'm not saying everyone, but a lot of people I have known have been. The second I came out, I will not kid to you, I became a much happier, bouncier, way more social person. Not quite in your face, but yeah, a little in people's faces about being so, you know, social and happy, and it does quite help. I've always thought it was very important to be out with friends and family first, even if you're not planning to change 100% of the time, out in public, work, etc. Friends and family do kind of need to know, and it does help you to know how they will react as well, I guess. I had expected when I came out to my partner, my then fiance, now wife, that I was trans, and her reaction was to support me. And I'm very, very, very lucky with that. But when I decided I was going to come out to my friends and my family, it was quite difficult, and I had set up this expectation that maybe about 90-95% of my friends and family would never speak to me again. That was an honest expectation of what would happen. Now, I got quite lucky. Just when I came out to my friends and family in their respective groups, just about all of them said, "Yes, we've known for years." It was very much a it's been quite apparent your whole life. Um, Not everyone gets that lucky. Particularly a lot of stories I've heard from other trans people. I am very, very, very lucky in that respect, particularly with family. It has taken one or two of my family members a little bit longer to come to terms with me being trans and being, seen as a girl and expecting female pronouns, etc. But it can happen, and it really is better to know how they think about you and whether you can rely on them, because you don't want to come out later in life and find that you have no one from years and years of relationships behind you. Speaking of having people behind you, when I came out, I was personally financially stable. I was not dependent on family or friends for money, housing, or anything, which a lot of people don't get that kind of opportunity. If a lot of people who come out at a younger age, of course, are trapped by the fact that their parents have got, the money and the housing, etc. I did choose to come out later in life, partially because of those reasons. So if you do come out at a younger age, do remember that if you do think your parents or whoever you rely on, parents or guardians, if they're going to have a negative reaction, remember that can affect your life stability, which by no means does not mean do not come out. I would never ever say that. If you're trans and trans and proud, like me, I guess, come out, let the world know. But do expect other people to not be so crazy about it, and some to be even worse than that, I guess, to put it to a very, very simplified way. So another thing about being out is about safety, particularly in public. Being in Texas, yes, I do get the odd Bible nut. I'm not someone who's massively concerned with passing, and as I'm very sure you can tell, my voice is nowhere near being female. It's slightly better than what it used to be when I was in England, but it's not exactly girly. I'm not too worried about that, though. It does mean that people know I'm trans. It does mean I've had Bible verses spouted at me, or some other terms, quotes, offensive language. And I have noticed a few ways to keep safe, and particularly as a transgenders as a group are highly more visible. You can't as easily tell a gay guy walking down the street as you can tell a trans girl or a trans guy walking down the street. So we can get picked on for not blending in completely. One of my rules has always been, well, two of my rules, I guess: safety in numbers and knowing your area. If I ever go somewhere new, if I ever explore a new mall, if I ever go to a new bar or club or whatever, I will always go with my partner or with a close friend or close work colleague. The reason is I know they have my back. But more importantly than that, when a lot of people see you with another person, they are highly, highly unlikely to say anything or verbally or physically harass you in any way. It's extremely unlikely. Well, I say that based on my own experiences, of course. Everyone has a different experience. Thus far, whenever I've been out with friends, family, my wife, whatever, whoever, I have yet to actually be verbally attacked as a trans person. So that's one of the main rules I kind of almost live by at the moment. The other one is to know your area and know a lot of people in the area. Where I work is right near a mall that I frequent quite a lot. One of my own experiences of being harassed in public was at said mall. Now, I serve a lot of people that work in that mall, a lot of the other people walking around with my customers. Um, I was actually right outside of a salon where I get my eyebrows done, and of all the people to come and help me, the girl at the register at said salon ran out and basically shouted the guy back until he left me alone. Now, she didn't really know me that well, but I've been to that salon for so long that they know well enough that I'm trans, I'm a frequent customer, and they will stick up for me. Um, I've had that in a couple of places now. So I do always recommend getting to know people wherever you frequent. You know, if you do like going to a mall quite a lot, or a particular cafe or restaurant, get to know one or two members of the staff, particularly if they are gay. Not as a standard. It's just you almost instantly know they're going to be trans friendly. um, and that's just a rule for here in Texas, I guess, because you never know with people here. Um, but it does help, and they are quite likely to come and stick up for you, even while on the clock themselves. The other big one about being out, and it's the for a lot of trans people, it's the no-no of being out, and it's the real huge issue, and it is a very big issue, is at work with employment, or I guess at school as well, or college, or whatever you're doing. More often than not, a lot of trans people do not work openly for a vast period of their life. I have worked openly in the past. I've worked mixed. I now live and work 100% trans. T-girl and proud, And I've had some different experiences, good and bad. And I guess you need to know your company first, or whoever you want to work for, I guess. There is a very handy resource. I'm going to put it down in the comments below, the description, I guess. The Human Rights Campaign website did a study of all the policies of some major companies and rated them on the LGBT acceptance. This is extremely helpful because, if you were considering coming out as trans or gay or bisexual or lesbian or whatever, you don't particularly want to walk up to someone in HR and say, what are our gay policies? Because that's kind of instantly outing you, So I'm going to leave that below. Please do click on it, take a little look through. It's very, very useful. I'm very lucky, again, that my company scored very highly in there. I now currently work for a particular well-known company, very proud partner. A lot of the people I work with are LGBT or LGBT allies, and even my boss has assured me she would protect me, and that's pretty good considering some past experiences I've had. Like I said, the majority of trans people I've met did not work openly. They, it's no joke to say they were Tina on Fridays and weekends, which there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's, everyone's life and each to their own. I personally have to be out 100% of the time. I can't not hide it. In the past, I've attempted to hide it, and people figure out pretty quickly. I mean, I have a Facebook account in my female name. I have a wife that refers to me by my female name, and friends who refer to me in female names. So, some people can find out. I personally find it extremely difficult to hide. Others do it very well if they want to. I really cannot. I literally cannot even do that. But one of the big things for me was about being out in the workplace is you are there for most of the week. And for me to have to attempt to hide being trans for, say, 40 to 48 hours a week or whatever, it's extremely difficult and emotionally straining on me. I don't even like how I look without makeup in the mirror, looking male, I guess, normally. So to have to work like that would be absolute hell for me. yes, like I said, I have had some bad experiences. Um, a previous job back home in the UK, I worked for them for a couple of months. The second they knew I was really trans and was serious about it, and it wasn't just he's a bit girly, um, I was fired instantaneously. Um, it hit me really hard, and it did hammer in some harsh realities to do with being openly trans, because I had never had anything at that point in terms of discrimination or harassment or anything, and I had worked in said industry for quite a while. Well, I'm hardly old, but for my entire working life, I'd worked in the industry, and to just be fired off the bat within a couple of months was surprising and quite disgusting personally. It can happen, but down the line, you have to remember you wouldn't want to work for them anyway. And I guess that's the same kind of thing with the friends that stick with you when you come out. Not to sound like anyone's mother, but if they're not your friends when you come out, they were never really your friends. It's a cliche, but it's such a true cliche. Now, it's not really all bad, I guess, working openly. I, as a Starbucks partner, I'm very visual. I'm in front of hundreds of customers every day, regulars who have known me as both male and female, who see me outside of work, who, you know, is very visual, and I'm shouting names and getting names wrong, and drinks occasionally wrong, a lot. But you know, it's pretty obvious to everyone I'm trans now. To a lot of people, will be extremely worried about that, and yes, it would be a lie to say I haven't had the odd stare or dirty look or anything like that. But that's been sort of 1 out of 100, maybe 1,000, a couple hundred people that might stare at me or give me a dirty look. And that's considering sometimes I sit on a cash register ringing up hundreds of customers daily. What I get more of is compliments. And I am not the prettiest ego. I do not pass. I don't look that good by any sort of standard. But the amount of people who just want to be supportive, knowing you're trans, is outstanding. I get a lot of compliments like you're adorable. There's a lovely hairband. It looks so good on you. Keep going. All sorts of things like that, which there was no build up or run up to it. It was just a nice little compliment tagged on, and that can happen. Do not be afraid if you are thinking of being trans in the workplace, particularly a customer service or workplace. It's not gonna be as bad as you think. It's not always kind of like school or like being out in public. It's a very different atmosphere. And speaking of the support like that, you can get the same from a lot of colleagues. As I mentioned, a lot of the people I work with are LGBT or LGBT friendly. I get a huge amount of support from my colleagues, overwhelmingly so. If I didn't have that, I'm not even sure if I could have started hormone replacement therapy, which I have started in the last couple of months. So don't be completely worried about working openly. I dipped my toes into it before. When I originally came back out, back in 2012, I'd been working for a company for about a year as a male. Maybe a slightly girly, classic emo kid looking male, but very masculine male. And then I sort of dipped my toes into it, makeup at work, acting a little more girly, I guess. All those types of things. And it is something you can ease into. I often do with my current job. I attended the interview as a male, male dress and attire and wearing makeup, so it's obvious I'm a little bit feminine, but I eased myself into it. Now, some people like doing that. Some people, a lot of people leave their current workplace transform and then enter a new workplace as their female self or male self if you're female to male transgender. Again, it's not something I could do or would want to do because I love where I work, so I had to be, still working for Starbucks, still out and proud. So yeah, so I'm going to leave the HRC ratings link below. If your company's on there, you can look them up, or a company you might want to work for. Again, I will always recommend this little company, who are super gay friendly, ridiculously gay friendly even. And I just want to, thank anyone who's watched to this point of me babbling on about being trans. I hope you subscribe, watch a couple more of my videos, and if you are LGBT or not, whatever, stay strong. This is a very difficult time with particular news stories circulating about trans youth committing suicide or facing all sorts of difficulties. Just remember there are a lot of people out there, and I'm going to end this video the way I plan to end every video, which is by saying you can always contact me here on YouTube, or I'm going to leave an email link down in the description as well. If you need support, you need help, you need anyone to talk to, I am here for you, and I will happily give any advice that I can to help you in your situation. So do not be afraid. There's no need to be afraid and not to seek help. So thanks for watching the video, and I hope to see you all again.